My name is Tai Obiele. As you can probably tell, I'm a Nigerian. So I don't know if there are other non-Nigerians on the call. I did a agency in civil engineering with the University of West London and a maths degree with the University of Bolton. I've worked in the House of Parliament in Nigeria, in the Nigerian House of Representative, in the National Assembly in Abuja as a legislative assistant. I joined the civil service through what they call direct appointment route in fast stream in 2018. And since then, I've worked with, various government departments here in the UK, and including Ministry of Defense, Cabinet Office, HMRC, and a few others. First as a permanent staff and also as a contractor. I currently work in the UK nuclear industry, and I've always been working as a business case manager, currently business case lead. I think throughout my career in the civil service, except for a few months that I work as a policy advisor. So what is it that we will be which we will be getting? What am I promising us in this presentation? First and first, what is leadership? What does it mean? Then the second part is the 7 core traits of leaders, and then the how. How do we exhibit these traits? How do we do it? What do we need to do to get this out there? And lastly, 21 do's and don'ts in a professional setting. There are certain things you must not do, because if you do them, they could be misinterpreted in this society as somebody who is weak, somebody who lacks decision-making skill, or somebody who is not confident. So I will be going through those 21 things. And these things, they're not just things that I picked up from the internet. I don't know if they exist on the internet. I'm not aware. I've not searched, but I've picked up a lot of do's and don'ts in professional setting throughout my life, both in Nigeria and here. I worked for about 5 years in Nigerian National Assembly before coming to the UK. And I've learned quite a few things that could be misinterpreted if you do them. Even if you're very intelligent, technically gifted, you understand what you're doing. Say you're a BA, you know how to gather requirements, you know how to do your assays or and your what do they call it? Assays and what do they call it again? To be, the gap between and all that. You know how to do all that. That's not what I'm talking about. There are some behaviors that if you exhibit, you will put yourself in serious mess in a place of work. In fact, a lot of the time, majority of the problem we come across at work are not as a direct result of our lack of competency. And they certainly have nothing to do with racism. A lot of the time is our lack of understanding of the culture of where we are. So I will be talking through those 21 things, and then you can figure out which one fits and make use. Now, a disclaimer here, I am not an expert in leadership. These are based on my experiences and things that I have gone through over the years. So I am learning as well, and I continue to learn, read books, have mentors, people who are already where I want to be. I still have them. I have a few mentors, black, white, doesn't matter. If you have what I need, I will become your friend, and I will try as much as possible to get an insight from you. Now, before we start, I remember, I don't know if anyone remember when Nelson Mandela was released from prison and he was invited to the United States town hall meeting. I can't see your hand, but if you are aware of that meeting, you're a star. You are a star. That meeting, actually, that was the meeting that defined Nelson Mandela as a leader. And during that meeting, it's on YouTube. You can go and watch it. I think it's over an hour, but I guarantee you that town hall meeting, if you watch it from beginning to the end, you will never regret any second of it. In that meeting, this is where I got this quote from. Say, any man who changes his principles, depending on whom he is dealing with, is not a man. Is not a man who can lead a nation. Now, the key word here is changing of principle, depending on who you meet. So I want us to bear that in mind as we go through this presentation this evening. Any man who changes his principle depending on whom he is dealing with is not a man who can lead a nation. In fact, I will go as far as saying that man is not a man who can lead anything.
Oh, sorry, sir. What's the name of the interview, please?
If you Google Nelson Mandela town hall interview in the US, I'm sure something will come up. It's on YouTube.
Okay, thank you very
Yeah,
much.
it's definitely, you will see the full it's over an hour. You will see it there, I'm sure. I watched it about a few months ago as well. It's been on YouTube for a very long time now.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Now, in fact, there are a lot of things you can learn from that meeting, from that, how to answer a question. I use it a lot. I use that uh, technique that Nelson Mandela used in that interview a lot, a lot. And there is a lot to unpack. There is also someone who did some analysis on how Nelson Mandela answered those questions. And believe it or not, the person who did the interview, that was the end of his career. He was a really good journalist who was highly respected, and he was used for political reason to. That was the interview that was meant to destroy Nelson Mandela, and that was what actually made him a hero. Really interesting. Now, the second quote here, which I love, Theodore Roosevelt, is that the best executive is the one who has sense enough to pick good men to do what he wants done, and self-restraint enough to keep from meddling with them while they do it. That sums up what leadership is all about. Now, I am going to delve into some things about leadership. And when we talk about leadership, I'm sure we're all aware of McKinsey and Company. He is the biggest, the largest, the most prominent consultancy firm in the world. Bigger than any other consultancy firm you can think of. Now, I like to follow their view because I think it's very, very strong. Their view is something that if you read their blogs a lot, you will understand a lot of things about leadership, and you'll be forced to change your mind about some of the things we carry in our head. A lot of the time, when you think about leadership, if you come from Africa, because we are a product of our society, we cannot. If you come up from you come from Africa, or you grew up with African parents in this country, that will do some things to you, and you cannot run away from that unless you unlearn all the things you've learned and begin to change your way of life. And this is very difficult, because leadership in itself is not about your title, it's not about your job. It's about your behavior. Now, here, the McKinsey and company say leadership is a set of mindsets, behaviors that aligns people in a collective direction, enables them to work together, accomplish shared goals, and help them adjust to changing environment. Now, there are a lot of things we can unpack here. In your head,
are you sharing are you sharing your screen or something?
I am sharing my screen, or is it not
No,
showing?
no, it's not showing.
Oh, sorry about that. I thought it is showing. Can we see it now?
Yeah, it's showing now.
Oh, how come no one told me? Wow. Well, we've not missed a lot, so yeah, my apologies about that. Right. Now, leadership, as the according to McKinsey & Company, they say it's a set of mindset and behavior. It's all about behavior. Somebody who can support people to become who they want to become. Somebody who can push people to get to a common goal, a collective, to go through a collective a path to a specific goal that everyone share. So that is very, very important. Now, so it is a person's action rather than their words or job title, something, your action, which inspire trust and commitment. Now, I remember last week I went to, because I do car boot sales. I love car boots. I sell in car boots. I buy. I do. I'm a car boots. What do you say? How do you say it? Uh, I just love it. Last week I went to a car boot in Manchester. I was there 2 weeks ago for the first time. I got in, and everyone was nice. All the staff, the attendants, the security guys, the money collectors, everyone was extremely nice. And bear in mind, this car boots is one of those car boots that if you go as a seller, there are more sellers than there are spaces. So you would expect that they would be a little bit, nonchalant towards helping you or talking to you or things like that, but they were not. They were extremely supportive. They listen to whatever question you have. They answer your question. They don't shout at you. They're very respectful. I was surprised because with that high demand, I was expecting some nasty behavior, but none. So last week when I went there, the same thing. Then I saw my African brother working there. Last week I saw him and I asked him a question, some question, and the attitude I didn't really understand. I was a little bit confused, but I thought, don't judge your own brother. Why? Forget it. Don't judge your own brother. So I decided, nah, you know what? No. Maybe he was just having a bad morning. It's 6 a.m. in the morning, so it could be that. So last week I saw him again. Before he came to the store next to me, the people selling on the store next to me, they had some of their stuff on the main entrance. So some of the workers, they came there. These people are white. They came there. They said, "Oh, are you all right? Are you okay?" They said, "Oh yeah, I'm fine." So, "Are you okay to move this? You're blocking the road. Are you okay to move this stuff to that area over there?" And say, "Oh yeah, I'll move it in a minute. I'm just doing something in my van." And they say, "Okay," they walk away. And then my brother came again. So when my brother came, he looked at it, he said, hey, move those things. Yeah, you are blocking the road. You are blocking the road. I said, okay. And then the guy said, well, I'll move it in a minute. I just told one of your colleagues, I'm going to move it. I'm busy. I'll move it later. And then my brother walked away, and as he was walking, he walked past this guy, Then he got to my store and he was saying, oh, you don't move it when you want to move it. You move it when we tell you to. And I just reminded myself of that kind of mindset we have as a people when we are in a position to lead. You know, we believe leading in our head is all about having the final say. It's all about talking down on people. It's all about showing, the power that I am the one in control. I am the one in charge. Or I earn more than you. I make more money than you. So because of that, I have finance. I have master's degree. Things like this. We think once somebody is a politician or whatever, they are leader. And I am sure we can all see the result in our continent. There is no doubt about that. Now, the reason why I said this, I talked about this story is that it really reflects on what I used to think leadership was. You say something and people do it, no question, Now, McKinsey did a lot of analysis on leadership because they are one of the best a consulting firm in terms of leadership training program. And they did, as you can see, what I've written there is directly from their blog. 200,000, they did a survey of 200,000 people in 81 organizations, and they found 4 types of behavior that actually account for 89% of leadership effectiveness. I am not going to talk about all of them because operating with a strong orientation towards goal, we all know that. I think almost every human being have that trait. Solving problem effectively, depending, you might not have it, but it's not something I will be talking about today because one can talk about that for weeks nonstop. I will just pick 2 of those points: being supportive and seeking different perspective. Now, being supportive sounds a little bit subtle, like what does that really mean when we say being supportive? And what does it mean when we say seeking different perspective? Seeking different perspective is more around listening to other people's opinion, listening to other people's opinion, being ready to accept other people's view. I read something a long time ago. I think I can't remember the book, and it said it is the mark of an intelligent man to entertain a thought without accepting it. And as a leader, you should be able to entertain people's opinion without accepting it, without being. I remember there was a time I was having a conversation with some people on a WhatsApp group, and somebody said, "I beg shift." And it's shocking, you don't want to belittle people when you're having a conversation, when you, as a leader. That's not the job of a leader. You are meant to be supportive. You are meant to try to this is one of the things that put us in problem at work. Recently, a friend of mine sent an email to an organization, to someone, and said, the person asked a question about a team, his team, and said, oh, I understand you guys are the one doing blah, 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 blah. Could you provide so information about this thing? Thank you. And my friend wrote back and say, hi, so thank you for contacting me. I do not know anything about this particular blah, 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 blah. Thank you very much. And that's it. When I saw the email, I was shocked. Now, if you don't know how to write an email writing, sending a response, or writing an information, requesting for information, it's something that is quickly picked up in this country. I don't know any other place. I'm talking about United Kingdom. It's something that the leaders pick up quickly to know whether you're not a good leader. So what happens after that is that you will remain in that place of work for a very long time. training other people that will become your leader. Technically, you're good, you're fantastic, you're great, you're a fantastic BA, fantastic project manager, but you will find out that having traction with other stakeholders will be extremely very difficult for you. Now, when I saw the email, I was shocked. And I said, hey, brother, hey, you don't write like this. I said, he said, oh, why? I said, there are two things to that email. Two things that email is saying. And you might not know. So what are those things? I said, first of all, it's telling us, it's telling the person that you are not joined up as a team. Like you people are not well organized in your team. That's one. Number two, you are the custodian of the information this person is asking for, and you are not willing to go extra mile. Now, I used to employ contractors when I was in HMRC. You know, we pay them a lot of money. And during my time in my brief period when I employ contractors in HMRC, I sacked 2 Nigerians. And this is the reason. I think in a place of work, we have this behavior, and it's very common. I'm not saying all of us. We have this behavior that if somebody asks you to do something in a place of work that is not your role, or that, you know, a lot of the time there will be gray area. Mr. Tolu, I'm sure you will agree with me on this. Sometimes there will be gray area. You might be a BA and end up doing a little bit of project manager's job or things like that. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Mr. Tolu, are you there?
He's on the road now, so.
Right, okay. But does anyone know what I'm trying to talk about? Where that there is a blur line between your role and the next person in the place of work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when you ask a Nigerian to do that kind of work where there is a blur line between their role and the other role, they will tell you frankly that is not my role, and that's it. They say, oh, that's not my job, and that's it. Now, I don't understand what goes on. I think it's not understanding what leadership means. You know, you could turn down any work if you don't want to do it, but the way you turn it down, understanding how to communicate as a leader, we put you in a strong and positive light in a place of work. A lot of the time I've turned down jobs that are not mine, and by going extra mile, oh sorry, I'm not sure this align with my role, but I would let me look for somebody else who will be able to help you with this, and I will go around and find somebody that I think should be doing that role. Now, this is one of the biggest problems we have as ethnic minority, and believe it or not, this is not specific to Nigerians alone. A lot of ethnic minority go through this because sometimes we feel we're being oppressed, that, oh, this is just me. When if you're a leader, you're thinking that whatever criticism is coming or whatever problem is happening at work that is only happening to you as a person, then your thinking is a little bit flawed. A lot of the time, people respond to you the way you act, the way you carry yourself in a place of work. Now, I'm going to go a little bit further, but before I do that, there are I have to say, the next slide we include quite a lot of stuff. So feel free to just interject because I can't see anyone. I'll be talking about the 7 core traits of leadership and the how. You know, what do we do about it? How do we do it? If we talk about this thing, but what are the things that I need to make this trait stick? into me as a person so that I'll be able to uh, to lead in anywhere I find myself, especially in a professional setting. The first thing I'm going to talk about is humility and lifelong learning. Humility and lifelong learning. I don't know who said that. I saw that in a book. True humility is being able to accept criticism graciously as we accept compliments. Now, as a leader, you have to be humble and be able to take feedback and continually seeking ways to improve. One of the biggest problem we have as a community is, say you're selling something, you have a business that you're doing, and somebody comes to you and tell you, oh, uh, uh, you just try it one day. A lot of the time, I don't buy Nigerian food, for example, in Asian shop. I don't, and I've stopped that very long time ago. About 7 years ago, I stopped doing that, because if we claim that our people are poor, that our businesses don't last, why don't we support our own? Why don't we let the money circulate within our community and let our brothers and sisters earn that little extra pound that they add onto it? But one thing I find out in our community is that a lot of the time we don't like feedback, especially if that feedback is not what we expect. As a leader, you have to be open to feedback, no matter how bad it is. And this is one thing I find very interesting in this country. Like, every business is actively seeking for feedback. And no matter how bad that feedback is, they will learn from it and they will make changes and adapt, continue to learn, and continue to improve. This is one area that we find very, very difficult, that even to talk to ourselves as colleague, as friend, on WhatsApp group becomes very difficult. It becomes extremely toxic, that you can't even talk. You can't disagree with someone because they will be very upset. They call you names. As a leader, you don't want that. You don't want to do that. No matter how bad the feedback is, you want to take it, because when you get into corporate environment, you will get a lot of feedback, even if you're not asking for it, because that is the culture here. No matter how good you think you are, there are people who will analyze you and show you without any doubt that there is room for improvement. So be ready to understand that and to be able to take that with humility and improve where necessary. Now, how do you do that? If you're a leader, you want to provide a range of experiences to encourage development, talent, and career management for everyone around you, not just yourself, for everyone around you. So if you're leading, you are in management role, you're a line manager or things like that, or you own a company of your own and you want that company to succeed in this country, you want to provide people with a range of experience. You want to encourage them to develop, their talents, and you want to help them to manage their career development. You want to give everyone equal opportunity. And yourself, you want to be a role model for continuous learning. You want to let them know that you're learning, you looking at all the feedbacks and you putting it in as a person, and you grow. I remember yesterday, we've been having this meeting every week with my line manager and the rest of the team. Every single week we'll be having this meeting. And immediately after the meeting yesterday, he sent a message to all of us. He said, oh, we've been having this type of meeting for a while now, and I'm just looking into getting all of your feedbacks. No feedback is too small or too much. There is no negative feedback. It doesn't matter what. Please get back to me. I really need to know what you guys think. And I was surprised. I was thinking that the meeting was actually going well. There was no, maybe no need for any sort of improvement. Then somebody sent an email and replied back and said, I'm a contractor. And a lot of the things that you say are not applicable to me because I'm not a permanent staff. So are you okay to have some kind of agenda where all those things that are staff specific, you put them at the bottom of the agenda so that I can sign off and do something else? I was surprised. I didn't even think about that. A lot of African line manager will not even give room for somebody to say things like that. Because of the way we grew up. I'm not saying all of us, but because of the way we grew up, we don't like to be challenged. My mom doesn't like to be challenged. For example, she doesn't like it at all. It's either you keep quiet, you don't challenge her, or you let her have her way. So imagine you grew up in that kind of environment and you want to work in a corporate environment in the UK. It will be very tough. You have to take a step back and think about how you talk to people, how you reason with people. You have to think about all of that and make some changes. Otherwise, you'll be having problem at work. Now, the third thing is to ensure that colleagues take responsibility for their own learning and development. Now, it is your job, your duty as a leader to open the doors, to show people all the opportunities that are available around you. However, it is their responsibility to take a step to decide whether they want to take those opportunities or not. So it is your responsibility to open the door to show people, you can do this, this is available, giving people opportunity to move forward, to have new experiences, to develop their talent. But don't forget that they still have that responsibility for themselves to make that decision. But they just have to know that the opportunity exists. Provide colleagues with opportunities to share their knowledge and skills with others to build organizational effectiveness. This is very important. And this is one of the things that we miss, especially those who work as a contractor. Sometimes when you work as a contractor, we have this attitude that it's none of my business. I'm here to do a job. It can easily be picked up at work. I don't know if any of us have noticed sometimes you're doing a job, you've been working your ass off as a business case writer or as a BA, and then there is a promotion for the next step up, and you are not even considered in the mix, and they go and bring somebody else, and then they tell you to train that person. Now, if they do that to you, don't think it's racism. Before you claim racism, take a step back and look at your behavior, your attitude throughout the years or throughout the months you've been there, and think whether you are worthy of that position or not. In a situation where you only focus on your job, you're not focusing on the impact of your job on other stakeholders, the staff member, you're not willing to go any extra mile in terms of supporting people and making sure that the knowledge within the organization is spread out, that whatever you've done, that it's iconic, so to speak. The secret to that is shared with the rest of the team, and whatever any other person has done, you encourage them to share with others. You will be having problems. Because this is the culture of leaders in this country. This is what they do. And if you don't do it, you'll be having a lot of problems. And then as a leader, you want to also share your own expertise, through coaching and mentoring in order to help your team succeed. And another thing is that you want to create inclusive environment from which all individuals can develop regardless of their needs or background. Now, when you talk down on people, or when you make people feel that You have the final say. You're not going to create inclusive environment. I've seen it in a lot of African WhatsApp group. It's extremely difficult to have conversation, to be free, because they let you know that you can't say this to me, you can't do this to me. It's very everywhere we gather together as ethnic minority, for some reason it's really difficult to be honest with ourselves. And one thing that we do is we prefer to bring the baggage, the bad side of ourselves, to our own people. You know, I don't know what happened. When we see other people, we act nice, good, we talk in the right way. But when we see ourselves, we like to bring all the baggages and rubbish on our community. And uh, when you keep doing that, one day you will always slip up in a place of work, in an environment of work, where the people, if they can't get rid of you, they will make use of your skill, because you have that skill, maybe because it's difficult to replace you, things like that. They will keep you there. But believe me, to be a leader is not about being the medical doctor or an accountant or a BA or a business case, right? No, no, no. To be a leader is a different kettle of fish. Is where you make strategic decisions, where people trust you enough to make those decisions because they know you will make the right decision. I'm not talking about your business as usual routine work that you have been employed to do. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not going to talk about the last one there, but I'm sure we can read it ourselves. Now, according to Laura Stack, you can check Laura Stack on the internet. It's a productivity pro. It's a delegation. It's not about getting rid of tasks. It's about empowering others to help you achieve your goal. So, delegation and empowerment. Effective leadership. Effective leaders know how to delegate tasks appropriately and empowering their team members, fostering growth and autonomy rather than micromanaging. Now, when you micromanage, a lot of us don't even understand what that means. We think we do it a lot. I've seen ethnic minority doing that because we are too afraid. We are very insecure, and that is down to our environment. And bear in mind, when I say this, I am not taking anything away from our community. In the last 15, 20 years, we've done a lot in this country, and the achievement we've made in the last 15 years alone is incomparable to the achievement we've made in this country in the last 60 to 70 years. You know, we're everywhere. You know, we have a lot of professionals. You know, recently we even have someone of Nigerian background leading a political party in this country, not just any political party, conservative. That is huge. So we should pat ourselves on the back and say, yes, we're doing well. That is not the conversation today. The conversation is about some deficiencies that we can work on. There's always a room for improvement. I remember when I first came into this country and in London, you know, every time I go out, they always cutting the road, splitting the road open, you know, cutting the road, causing traffic all the time. I used to get confused. What is wrong with this fine road? Assuming we have this in Nigeria, I'll be so happy. What is wrong with all these roads that they keep cutting all the time? You know, before it spoil, get damaged, they already cut it and they redoing it and all that. I used to get really, really confused about that. Then I realized that they don't wait until, for the majority of the time, they don't wait until something get ruined completely before they look into it. Now, when you micromanage, it's more to do with you giving somebody something to do and you keep asking them, looking at how they are doing it, not waiting for the final product. you know, having a sleepless night about some job you've given to a colleague because you think they're not going to do a good job. That kind of behavior, it's something that is extremely frowned at. And you will find out that a lot of the time you have problem with your white colleague. A lot of the time is that behavior of you thinking you're helping, but you are actually not helping. You think you're helping them by keep checking and looking at what they do and trying to correct them very quickly, even when they have not asked for it. That is a behavior that in this country can actually put you in trouble. You begin to create resentment for yourself. And how do we get this delegation and empowerment skill trait, so to speak? Well, as a leader, you want to remain visible and approachable to all colleagues and stakeholders. You want to remain visible. You want to remain approachable. Let them know, you need to behave in a way that they know that they can talk to you. You need to behave in a way that they know that when they come to you for a problem, they will go back with a solution. Even if you're not the one that is going to solve that problem, when they come to you, they won't be disappointed, even if you have not solved the problem. Another thing is actively promote the reputation of the organization with pride, both internally and externally. Now, I'm going to tell you a story about this. There was a time, I think early this year, I went to an event, Race Equality Network in Birmingham. And the CEO of my company actually came. The CEO of my company came to the event. Now, when I say event, it's not really an event, so to speak. It's just like a small gathering. I think we were about 7 people, or I think we were less than 10. So I'm not sure if we're less than 10. Then the CEO of the whole company came to join us for about 2 hours. And he was asking each and every one of us a question: how did you join? When did you join this organization? Blah, blah, blah. Because we had the whole day and everyone was talking. People were talking about different things and all that. I thought, what can I do? Now, one of the biggest problem you will have at work is this. If you don't know this book, if you've not read this book before, I will encourage you to go and buy it and read it. It's called 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. I read that book about 21 years ago, and I have 2 copies of it, one abridged version and the full version. I will encourage you to buy the full version of it, 48 Laws of Power. One of the law is this: never outshine the master. Never outshine the master. A lot of us do that work. We think we're doing a good work. You will be hated. That is guarantee. I can guarantee you will have problem with your manager. You will have problem with people above you. And the easiest way to get sacked at work is when you have problem with your line manager. Even if you're not sacked, that place will be so hot for you that you will end up with depression. So because we have the skill, you want to show off, forgetting that that person is a human being. So as a leader, you need to understand the psychology around that. One of the things is never outshine the master. In the 48 Laws of Power, one of the laws is never outshine the master. And I will never, ever forget that. I think, actually, I didn't read it 21 years ago. I read it in 1999. So that was a long time ago. It's not 21 years ago. Now, and I've kept that since. I've kept that in my head since. I will never, ever forget that. So during that meeting, and when it got to my turn, I started talking. I said, this is an opportunity. And I said, well, just to let you know, Corinne, my line manager is the best manager in the whole world. He said, why is that? I said, well, he gives people opportunity to contribute in the team. It gives people opportunity to be what they want to be. It creates an enabling environment for people to grow, for people to understand what they're doing, for people to try new things. He respect people's opinion. I said, you might think that this is it's something that is all across the board, but I've worked in many other places. It's not always like that. But I find my line manager to be extremely supportive and all that. I said that. Now, you might think I just say that and I keep quiet. No, it was a deliberate attempt to make some changes. It was deliberate, and because I knew he would go back and tell my line manager. And she did. She did go back and told my line manager. And then my line manager called me the following week and said, Ty, oh, so Corinne came to you guys, your meeting. I said, oh, yeah, she did. He said, wow, thank you very much. I got a really, really good feedback from. I said, oh, yeah. He said, I didn't believe that. I didn't know that anyone would give me such a feedback. I thought I wasn't doing a good job as a lineman. I said, no, Graham, actually, you're doing a really good job because you give people the opportunity to grow, to develop and all that. And that was it. People have problem with their line manager in this organization. I am not saying I am the most intelligent, I'm the most, I'm not saying anything like that. In fact, it could be because I'm lucky. But maybe they say luck is opportunity meets preparation or something like that. And I could tell you that contributed to my good relationship with my line manager. When we talk, you won't even understand who is line managing who. Now, you never ever talk badly about your organization to any staff member, not even your friend at work. No matter how close you are to anyone at work, don't ever talk bad about your organization. Always try as much as possible as a leader to promote the reputation of your organization, whether inside or outside. Then you have to show enthusiasm and passion towards your work so that it can inspire people around you. That is very, very important. And this kind of attitude and behavior, it's something that is quickly picked up at work. And it's one of those reasons why a lot of us who are contracted, when our contract finishes, we don't get called back. And then the 6 months finishes, they replace you with somebody else. This is one of the reasons, because you think you are a contractor, you're not part of the organization. So you're not gonna you're not gonna help the organization in any way. You're just there for you to earn your money. Like some people make joke about £750 on some group that I was in. Let me use that money, £750 a day. You make your money, you just go. That's what you think the job is about. If you want to be a leader, you have to go beyond that. You have to ensure that you inspire other people. You are fully engaged with all your stakeholders, and try to think about the long term of what you are doing, how that impact on the organization and long term. This is the behavior that would be expected from you. Now, the same thing, we talk about culture of inclusion, equal opportunity for all. When you give somebody information, you want to give the other person information. You want to make sure that the information is passed across the board. You don't want to have favorite. You want to make sure that you support everyone. If somebody is not doing well, you want, at work, maybe they don't understand some certain things. You want to give them support. By making yourself visible and approachable, and offering them support when they need it. And a lot of the time, and we do not seems to care about whether the strategic intent of the organization should be influenced or not, the direction, the culture of the organization should be influenced. We just want to do our work and get paid and get out. We don't think about the company's strategy. When you don't talk that way, nobody will remember you when they're talking about leadership, when they're talking about who's going to go to the next step and things like that. When you're not looking for a way to influence the organization's strategy, the direction, and culture, this is one thing you need to talk. So what I'm trying to say here is that your profession is different from being a leader. If you want to be a leader, you want to be called to the table of leaders in your place of work, or where people could see you as a leader. In fact, there are a lot of people who don't have the same skill as you have. In fact, I've seen it a lot of the time. I remember when I was in the Department for Education, my line manager at the time didn't have a degree. He started working in the civil service from the age of 16. No degree. The writing wasn't that great, but he was my line manager. And he's been line managing for years because he was a good leader. So that's nothing, absolutely nothing to do with your skill, your technical skill. No. Or a lot to do with your behavior, how you treat people, what you say when you are in a place of work, how you are concerned about what you are doing, about the strategy of the company, the direction the company is going, having a say, contributing. That will put you in a different light at work. I'm going to stop here for a minute. Does anyone have any question? Because I realize I'm just talking away. Osas. Yeah, feel free to ask your question. Go ahead.
What should you do if you find yourself micromanaging people unknowingly? What should you do to correct that?
Well, when you say micromanaging people unknowingly, would you care to give me an example?
Because the fact that you assign task, okay, to your team, and then you just checking on them all the time, and like it could be something that is kind of some people are used to doing things by themselves, and then they bring that into work, like
right, okay, yeah,
I'm trying to help, but you actually taking that task away from that person, and you're preventing that person from learning, but you doing it unknowingly. You think you're doing it from for being
to
good,
help,
helping.
to be good. Yeah, okay. I'm going to talk about that later on. I think it's at the back of this thingy. But just to let you know, when you begin to do that, be rest assured that you're going to be having problem with people, because don't forget that people are human beings. They are an individual, and nobody likes to have a hawk behind them like this and checking everything. Nobody, not even our children in this country, always take a step back, have a breather, just just take a step back, relax. That what's the worst that can happen? Is heaven going to fall if they don't do their job well? And don't forget that when somebody doesn't do a good job, when you've asked them to do something and they don't do it well, you haven't lost anything. You've just learned how not to do it. And that could be collated as part of your lesson learned for future learning, if that makes sense. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So because when they've done it rubbish, now and everyone can learn from it. and you can collate that information somewhere, put it somewhere so that every single staff can see how not to do that particular thing. So it's just that the fear that, oh, they're going to do a bad job, they're going to do a bad job. And take a breather, relax, you know. Right, because of our time, I'm going to move quickly to the next decision-making skill. It is in your moment of decision that your destiny is shaped. Tony Robbins. If you haven't read any of Tony Robbins' book, please, I would recommend that you go read Awakening the Giant by Tony Robbins. In fact, you need to Google that guy. You know, he's the richest motivational speaker in the world. I'm not saying richest because you need to read his story to understand what I mean by that. Then you will appreciate that word. I'm not trying to flaunt anybody's wealth here. That's not why we're here. Now, decision-making skill is very, very important. Strong leader makes decisions thoughtfully, balancing logic with intuition. They analyze available data, consider various perspectives, and are decisive without being impulsive. That is important. So you have to make decision based on logic, based on available data, making sure that you consult with others where necessary to ensure those decisions meet the needs of everyone. You know, this is one of the biggest mistakes we make. As you know, back home in Africa, I work with a lot of politicians. They will have this brilliant idea that they don't know nothing about. Imagine somebody who is an engineer thought about some sort of legislation that should happen to make Nigeria better. And he wants to spearhead that project by himself instead of him to get professionals and pay professionals, pay them their dues to do the job. He wants to lead on that job himself, even though he doesn't have all the skills, you know. So you want to ensure that you consult with people and you accept and respond to challenge constructively. No, not I beg shift where somebody, please don't do that. Not even to your own people, let alone saying that at work. You know, you don't do that. Don't belittle people. You know, listen to people. You know, listen and respond to challenge constructively. You know, and here I will say one thing: whenever you are work, don't ever go to your line manager or to senior people with a problem. It's a no-no. Don't ever go to senior people with a problem. When there is a problem and you want them to solve it, propose a solution. Make sure you find some sort of solution, you know, even if it requires to go and meet some people before you go to senior people or your line manager, people above you. Find people that you are on the same wavelength, on the same grade at work. Talk to them, or somebody that you can talk to, you know, about it. That what should we do? Blah blah blah. Find, you know, make a recommendation before you go. Oh, there's this blah blah. Something has happened. Blah blah blah. But I think perhaps we could do this. We could do this. What do you think? Don't ever go to your manager or people above senior people about a problem. Don't do that. That's part of decision making skill. You want to ensure that your communication is clear. You let people know exactly why you are making such decision, the reason for your recommendation and decision. I remember, you know, when I was in Nigeria, I never knew that you could ask your parent questions. But when I came here, my children, even if I said, go and sleep, now they will say, why? I said, oh, because it's 8 o'clock, you need to go to bed. You know, they will ask you why. So always give reason for your recommendation and for your decision. You know, give reason so that, and sometimes the reason, your reason might not make sense. So people will be there to help you and say, oh, actually, then you should be able to take criticism, you know, constructively. When you're being challenged, you know, be constructive about your response. Now, communication skill. This is extremely important. This is I'm rushing through this now because I'm looking at the time. We haven't got to the main parts at the end. So I want to make sure we get there very quickly. Communication skill. This is probably the most important thing you have as a leader. If you know how to communicate well, you don't have to have if you have good communication skill, you only need average technical skill to do your job. You know, the most important thing in communication is hearing what isn't said. I didn't know that Peter Drucker said this. I've been saying this for many years, that I always like to listen to what people are not saying. You know, when you're talking to me, I try to listen to what you're not saying to gauge the kind of person you are. And that has helped me a lot, you know. And if you can develop that skill, it's extremely important. It's a powerful skill, you know, to understand, to hear what people are not saying. Effective leaders can clearly and persuasively convey ideas, actively listen to others, and foster open, honest communication within their team. This builds trust and ensure alignment. You know, one thing I can say is, if you don't have good communication skill, I remember one of my friend in a meeting, no, on team chat, he was chatting with someone and he asked a question and the person provided the answer, and the answer wasn't actually what was on the on our information or whatever, something. And this guy said, "You are wrong. This is the correct answer. You're wrong." When I saw it, I said, "Hey, brother, don't do that. Don't, why are you sending that? Is that brother? Oh, you didn't communicate that way. I know what you mean, you know, but brother, you didn't. Do you know that he was reported? He was given verbal warning." That's how you begin to chip out your skin at work, and people begin to see your skeleton. People begins to resent you. People begin to dislike you because of the way you talk. Imagine you talking to a friend, you say, "I beg shift." I remember I was talking to someone one day, and a friend of mine, we were in somewhere and we were talking. And I said, "Oh, HMRC has," I mentioned some number of workers that HMRC has. And he said, "Nah, lie, nah, lie. They have 10,000. So I was confused. I was shocked. Well, where is the lie? That's just, I said about, you know, but I didn't want to address that because I found that a little bit, it's strange that somebody will say I'm lying about just ordinary banter, and you make an assumption about, "Oh, I think it probably have this also. You know, I work there, but I don't know. I think they probably have." And he said, "Not lie, not lie. They have those." I just stood there at the table. I just stood there looking. I didn't know what to say. Like, wow, wow, wow. I just said, wow. I was confused. Wow. So a human being could speak this nonsense and say somebody lies just because of, where is the lie? There's nothing to gain here. It's just a conversation. You could correct. What I understand what he's trying to say, that what I said wasn't correct. It could have said, "Oh, actually, they have so number." You know, that could have been the best way to put that. But saying it's a lie, I'm lying. You know, how do you think the other person will see you? Imagine you say that to 20 people around you. How do you think all of them will see you? You know, so it's very important knowing how to communicate. And God, there are a lot of resources online now on how you can communicate, how to develop your communications skill. Please make use of that. I make use of a lot of, about 5 people on YouTube, and I've done some training on it. It's extremely important. No matter how heated the argument, be very respectful. Be very, very respectful. Don't make jokes about people. Don't disrespect people, especially people you don't know, people you've never met. I have this horrible experience some time ago on a group where people who have never met me, who don't know who I am, and became very aggressive, abusive, and you know, you don't want that. You don't do that. Don't do it. Don't do it. As a leader, if you're not careful, I've seen in a place of work where they were talking to a lady, a Nigerian lady, about some things is done. I understand what has happened, but she didn't see it as something serious. And before you know it, she started shouting and shouting, and the following day she just attacks her not to come. It's a contract. You just ask her not to come again. You imagine being sacked within 24 hours. And there's nothing you can do about it as a contractor. You can be sacked today, and you go today, they will ask you to pack your things and get your computer ready. Somebody will come and pick it from your house. So learn how to speak. Just because you're making a lot of money doesn't make you a leader. Doesn't make you a leader. That doesn't make you a leader because you don't contribute to the strategic direction of that organization. You're only doing what you pay to do. They only making use of your technical skill. But if you want to be a leader, you need to improve on your communication skill. Resiliency is the ability to spring back from and successfully adapt to adversity. In the face of challenges or setback, resilient leaders stay focused and optimistic. They are also adaptable, willing to change course when needed, and open to new ideas. This is very important. You want to be a leader, you need to be resilient, you need to be adaptable, you need to understand that there are people with better ideas than you, and you should be able to engage with those people. And it doesn't matter who they are, from the lowest member of your team to the highest member of your team. You want to be inclusive in the way you engage with people, and in the way that you get new ideas from people. You want to ensure that everyone is included. And how do you do that? You challenge the way things have always been done and suggest improvement. You want to seek, encourage, and recognize initiative and imaginative ideas from a wide range of people. It doesn't matter what that person's idea about what is going on. I was in a conference yesterday in Oxford on something called target operating model for geological disposal facility, which is quite a huge, nobody knows what to do. And there are some questions that I asked during the conference that will make very little difference. They very little difference, but because I didn't know any better, and I asked those two questions, and nobody play me down, nobody belittle me, nobody said anything remotely relating to abeg shift. Not a single person. Only two of us were Black people, about 18 other people, no, 13 other people are white. They're scientists, very technical people who understand what site characterization is, and who understand, building geological disposal facility. And I was asking those questions because those two questions that I first asked, I didn't understand, deeply what, like them. And they took their time to explain. Nobody play you down, make jokes and all that. It was a relaxing area. It's just 15 of us in a room, sitting down, having nice coffee, talking, it's like sorry, it's not a conference. It was a workshop, Nobody play you down. Nobody makes silly jokes. They help you out and they explain further for you to understand it because you are their customer. You are their stakeholder. And you feel valued because whatever you're saying, they take it down. And after understanding the first two questions, I was able to make more contribution, and I was happy to be part of them because they encourage you, they make themselves available, they encourage you to talk, they encourage you to whatever you have, just let us know. If it is not a good idea, we'll tell you it's not a good idea without destroying your confidence. You know, you want to promote an environment where all colleagues feel safe to challenge. That is very important. You are on a WhatsApp group, give people opportunity to feel safe to challenge whatever you're saying. You know, but when you turn yourself into an individual that knows it all, you will lose a lot of opportunities. You will lose a lot of good ideas from people. They might not have the same education as you. They might not earn as much as you, but they have ideas that could, that could change your life completely. Nobody is a leftover. Nobody, no human being in this world is. You can learn one thing or two from people who don't even have a single education. So create an environment for people to feel safe to ask questions. You know, manage and
Yeah. I think somebody is raising their hand up. I'm
oh,
not sure you
right.
can
Sorry
see
about
it.
that. Is that gift? I just see that.
Gift,
Sorry.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Please
good
go on.
evening, everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, in regards to what you're just saying about a kind of opposing maybe decision or some a kind of making contribution. But actually it depends. It depends on the motive of you trying to oppose somebody else's decision. Because that will actually show when you are doing that opposition, maybe just a kind of try to say that person, what that person has said doesn't actually count, or maybe you have a kind of it depends on how you present it. So that will determine how it will be welcome. Because if basically what that person says is actually, as in, it makes a lot of sense, maybe it's being more objective, then you're trying to kind of object it just for objecting say, or maybe just to be noticed. I don't really think that is a good idea. Yeah.
All right. Okay. I will talk a little bit more about that. It doesn't. Now, as a leader, there is a lot of nonsense you have to take, and you have to take it as a leader. Imagine someone you talking as I'm talking now, and somebody just say to me, "You're an idiot. You're talking nonsense." And will it be correct for me to say, "You're an idiot too? You are talking nonsense"? Do you think that makes me a good leader? No. No. So it doesn't matter what the idea or whatever the other person is saying. You should consider yourself a leader in anywhere you find yourself, in any place of work. So it would be wrong to dismiss somebody's idea. No matter how silly, how stupid our idea is, you want to give them courage. You want to encourage them that it's okay. This time it's not something that aligns with what we're doing, but you know, I'm sure you will bring something good next time. You know, that is the feeling you want to let people have when they talk. Otherwise, you will shut people out and you'll be asking anyone any question, and people will say, no question, because they know you that if they make a mistake, this man will, if you do that among European people, you will have problem. In fact, in this country, I went to college here, I went to university twice. I can assure you this. I'll tell you a story. There was a time I was in college. I was in College of Northeast London in Tottenham, and a lecturer I was doing building construction then, and I didn't really understand what he was saying because she had this accent, this Indian accent, very thick accent. I couldn't understand her. And I was saying if she used a lot of diagram, I will understand that topic very well. I'm finding it difficult because of the way she speaks. Not only that, her explanation wasn't really good enough for me because I was expecting some diagram to explain it, picture. A lot of us learn through picture a lot. And I just said it. And somebody said, "Oh, why not go and tell the head of the department?" I don't know. I can't remember. And I said, "Oh, really?" He said, yeah, they will do something. And I went there and they actually took it up. They actually took it up. And this woman will come with a lot of picture to explain that in that area. I can't remember, you know, I did building construction. I can't remember that particular course. You know what we call technical drawing back home in Nigeria? It's that particular, I don't know what would they call it in the college then, I can't remember. And it will come with a lot of picture to show me and say, this is it. So you have to be able to take criticism and nonsense when somebody say, because people sometimes genuinely say things that they think is a good is a valid opinion or a valid idea. It is not for us to shut them out. It is not for us as a leader to you know, I see a lot of if you go on YouTube or any social media that is a Nigerianized conversation, go on the comment section. You will see the way we bastardize ourselves just because somebody has a different opinion from what is going on. And they will start talking, attacking the person, cursing the person, somebody that you don't know. Somebody that you don't know, they start attacking just because that person has an opinion, or that person says something that is not actually there. You know, it's not, you know, maybe that person hasn't done any research and he just said those things, and they will begin to attack the person, abuse the person, call that person names. No, they don't do it here. They don't do it. As a leader, it is for you to say, oh, actually, that's not it. This is it. If you know, there are ways and ways. In Yoruba language, they say something. They say, that is, how do I say pele in English? You see, my condolence, so to speak, my condolence. So when you say that, they say there is a positive of it and there is also a negative of it. You know, when somebody is mourning and you go there, no, I'm really sorry, my condolence, sorry for your loss and all that. They said it has positive, it has negative. There is a way you will say that person will get really upset and say, get out. There's a way you say sorry that people will say, get out. So we have to be careful how we respond. Even in the face of serious argument, you have to be still respectful as a leader. Have you seen any politician in this country that they interview, they start asking rubbish questions and they start cussing people out? No. Have you seen any? They say, do you know who I am? I can make you disappear. No. So we can't control the behavior of others or what people are thinking, how intelligent they are. But we as a leader should be able to control our response, if that makes sense. Because of our time, I'm going to go quickly to the next this, and the next page is capital. This is extremely important. We all profit from a more diverse, inclusive society, understanding, accommodating, even celebrating our differences while pulling together for the common good. You see, this is what I was saying. This was said by former Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You know, empathy and inclusivity, extremely important. Yoruba people say, it is impossible for you now to carry your son because your son is so naughty and bad that you now throw him to lion and say, lion, eat him. You know, you have to show empathy. You have to show empathy to people. You have to be inclusive. Everybody has one thing or the other. Even if somebody bring bad thing this time around, that doesn't mean they can't bring good thing next time. In a work environment, in anywhere you want to function as a leader, you have to show empathy. It's extremely important. Imagine, like I said, I was in Kabul last week, and the way, even 2 weeks ago, this new Kabul that I started going, the way the workers attend to you, the way they talk to you very early in the morning, except for my brother, the way they talk to you, even when you ask the silliest of questions, because you are new, they attend to you with kindness, they show empathy, they understand that you probably don't know where you are going. You don't know the culture here. You don't know what is going on, or you don't know where things are. So they understand it, and they will stand with you. They're not just going to be walking while they're talking. They will stand and talk to you. It makes you feel like a human being, that at least, okay, I didn't get it right this time, but at least you feel comfortable. You will feel comfortable with yourself. You'll be very proud of yourself, even though you didn't get it right. But imagine every time your child gets something wrong, you start beating him, you start talking to him, you are a failure. You are a failure because he says something stupid at the dining. And you say, oh, you're a failure. You're an embarrassment. Can't you think? You're not even intelligent. Imagine you keep telling a child that. So when you shut down people in a place of work, in a professional setting, you're gonna have problem. You're gonna have problem. People, you will. In fact, if you're not okay, that's why I look. A lot of us, I've been, I've seen a lot of our people being sacked constantly at work, being sacked, or having problem with their line manager. Many being sacked every single time. You hear this, I'm having this problem with my line manager. My line manager is doing this. My line manager. A lot of the time is because we don't understand empathy. We do not understand empathy. We have to understand that we have to swallow our pride to be able to listen to others and understand where they come from. Understanding that people are diverse, people have different thinking, different background, even husband and wife, even twins. I'm a twin, yeah. My twin brother, I don't know, he's not alive anymore, but I'm sure that if he's alive today, we won't agree on everything. He will say some silly things, I will say some silly things. So does that mean that I should shut him down and tell him, get out, move, shift? That's not a civilized way to have conversation. And these Europeans, they are very good at picking those energy very quickly with you. The moment you have a mark on your head, not fit for a leader. To get promotion become hard. In fact, a lot of us have to leave that organization to go to another one in order to get a promotion. But where you are, you will never get a promotion because of that thinking, that way of life, that energy. You will never. For you to progress in your career, you have to leave the organization and go to another one. So when you get a promotion to another one, when you start there too, you mess that one too up. You can't go over again. So you have to go to another organization. You see? So when you understand empathy and inclusivity, that everybody can bring something to the table. Even if they bring rubbish, there is a way you would let them in, and that links back to communication, how to communicate, how to talk. I've told people to fuck off at work without telling them actually fuck off. I'm sorry to use that language, but I've told people that many times that they will be even looking forward to fucking off. So there is a style to communication. I remember a lot of people, there's when you were having conversation, especially on social media, they will start calling you name. They will, instead of there was a time somebody was saying things and really intelligent stuff, but what he was saying doesn't really, they're not true. They're very intelligently put, but not true. And I say, oh, sir, I take a different approach. Because when you say you are wrong, you create an atmosphere that will make somebody extremely confrontational, extremely on the edge. When you say, oh, that's wrong, that's not true, or when you say, I beg shift, or something like that, you put people in a very terrible position, and because you lack empathy. I just said, oh, sir, I'll take a different approach to this. This is the way I see it. And I wrote. And this guy DM me. It was on, what's it called? Instagram. And this guy, he said, this is the first time. This guy, he wrote it himself. It's still on my DM. This is the first time that somebody will disagree with me on on this platform that they will write like this. Say thank you very much. You say thank you very much. You see everyone in that group, they call me names and all that, blah 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 blah. You say thank you very much. I just go to this link, go and look into this book. It talks more about it, and say thank you. You want to leave people feeling fulfilled, feeling happy. That's what a leader do. And this leads me to the next topic. This is the only skill. If you don't have this, forget about it. Forget about everything else. Everything else does not matter. If you don't have emotional intelligence, forget about everything we've talked about. You will continue to get sacked at work till Christ comes. I'm not saying if you have it, you won't get sacked, but the chances will be very, very low. Emotional intelligence is the ability to sense, understand, and effectively apply the power and acumen of emotions as a source of human energy, information, connection, and influence. Good leaders are self-aware. They can manage their emotions. They have empathy for others. They understand how emotion drives behavior and are skilled at navigating interpersonal dynamics. This is the Oga Patapata of them all. Oga Patapata of them all. Understanding, having emotional intelligence, understanding where people are coming from, ability to listen to others. They say it is the mark of an intelligent person to entertain a thought without accepting it, to entertain an opinion without accepting it. It always fascinates when you see European on TV, especially politicians. Me, I love, politics. I enjoy it very well. And I listen to a lot of interviews. This is what I do, in my spare time. And you see the way European politicians argue about their differences, and you look the way we argue about, even as humans, look at the way we argue. Go to any African WhatsApp group and put yourself in an European or English WhatsApp group. Just watch the difference. Watch the way conversation, the way we treat ourselves and the way they treat themselves. The difference is clear. The difference is clear. You need to understand emotional intelligence. And how do you do it? Practice self-awareness. Regularly take time to reflect on your emotion, how they influence your thoughts and behavior. Notice pattern in your reaction and triggers, and identify area where you may want to improve. I've done this mindfulness exercise and some app. Really good. You want to try that, because if you understand your own emotion, if you understand your own deficiency, you understand your weak point, I think you will empathize with others. That's number one. Number two, you need to develop empathy. Empathy, extremely important. This will put you, even if you are poor at your work. Haven't you noticed a lot of people at work that they're not actually technically good like you? And you wonder, how come they've been in this work for 20 years, for 15 years? They've remained here. Everybody likes them. It's emotional intelligence. Showing empathy and, making a conscious effort to understand perspective, other people's perspective, by actively listening and putting yourself in their shoe. When you just dismiss other people opinion or idea, you just dismiss it. No, that's not good. It's not a good thing. People will not naturally like you. Do you think people who are dismissive of me somewhere will come to me and say, please help me? And you think I would genuinely want to help them? No, I will use my emotional intelligence to say no, in a very nice way. If you not see in place of work, these Oyinbo people, they will smile at you and they will go and bastardize you because they don't want to have that conversation with you because you're toxic. So emotional intelligence is very, very important. I can't even stress this enough. So there are a lot of information online, YouTube, that people will talk about this. Then you can learn, you can understand. Then improve self-regulation. When faced with strong emotion, practice pausing before reacting, especially when somebody send you an email or somebody say something. Well, I don't know if there are people on a WhatsApp group that I talked about. There is a WhatsApp group. I know some people come from them. Go on, although I've deleted all my messages, but go and read all the messages. There is no single abuse. There is no single abuse in any of my conversation, no matter what. Because I don't know the people. I don't know them. No matter what they're saying, I don't know them. I have to be emotionally intelligent enough to know that you can't say that to these people. The worst anybody will do on that group is to remove me. That doesn't do anything to me. But I'm not going to let it get to that. I have to control myself. That's how we should be doing. We need to empathize with people. We need to understand, put ourselves in their shoe, that if I tell this person this now, how would they feel? I have family, I have children. Will my children be happy when they see you telling me to, I beg, go shift, I beg shift? I'm making joke about my salary. Will my children be happy? Will my wife be happy? So if I can't take that, do you think it's good for me to dish that out to other people? No. They have children, they have family that love them, and talking nasty to them, if they do it to me, won't do me any good. So why would I do that? Especially in a professional environment, in a WhatsApp that is filled of people that are supposed to be professionals. So I should be professional on that. No matter how much I disagree with people or how much they dish into me, I have to be professional. Just stand your ground and be professional. Now, enhanced communication skill, I've talked about that. Seek feedback and reflect. Always seek feedback from friends and colleagues. Honest feedback. I told one of my friends here today, I said, if you join this meeting, this presentation, please, I need an honest feedback from you. I said, I need an honest feedback from you so I can improve. And that's it, because I know he's going to give me that feedback. Ty, you mess up here, you mess up there. And I will use that. But if you're not ready to listen to feedback, you're not going to have any emotion. In fact, it means you don't have emotional intelligence. And this is one key thing that can either make you or break you in a place of work. Now, I'm going to give us general work environment tips. These are just common sense. I'm going to read through them, and then this will be the end of the presentation. Your colleagues are not your friend. Your colleagues, they are not your friend. If you have anything to talk here, I can't hear you, just feel free to talk. If you raise your hand, I won't be able to see it because of the presentation. Do not offer favor or support that is against company policy. Hey, I'm close. I want to go early. Can you cover for me? And you say, oh, okay, go. Don't do it. Because John will not do it for you when the time comes. And you will say he's racist. When the time comes for you to go home quickly because something happened, and you ask John will tell you, go and meet the manager. And you say, you see John, that when he wants to go early, I always tell him I'll cover for him and I'll help him sign out. And it comes to my turn. John didn't help me. That guy is racist. No, they follow that number 2 rule. This one. Do not offer support that is against company policy. Avoid being direct or speak in the absolute. What I mean about speaking in the absolute is that it can never happen. Don't do that. They ask you for something. We don't have it. Don't speak in the absolute. Avoid that at all, especially in writing. Avoid it, or using all this strong emotional word when you're talking at work. Please, I beg you, avoid it completely. It's a joke behind your back. Or when somebody is wrong and you say you are wrong. Please don't do it. When you are having a one-to-one with your line manager, always ask how you're doing. It doesn't matter if you're a contractor or you're a permanent staff, always ask, how am I doing here? And then by that, they know that, okay, you want the truth. Be mindful of people's sexual orientation. I'm not going to talk much about that. Religion and family commitment. Avoid shouting and using of hand gesture when you're talking at work. Here, their culture is different. It shows aggression. So be very careful about your posture when you're talking and when you're having conversation at work. No matter how heated the argument is, improve your argument, not your voice. Avoid doing other people's work for them without them asking you to. You want to be the helper at work. That will work against you. Leave people alone to do the work they are paid to do. This thing will put you in trouble. I can guarantee you that. Don't ever do other people's work. Give them a chance to do their own work. Let them be accountable and be responsible for their own work, unless they ask you. And if it is part of what you could do, then help them. Look colleagues in the eye when talking to them. Make sure you look them in the eye when you're talking. Because culturally, we don't do that. We don't look at elder in the eye. But it's a sign of timidity. It's a sign of lack of confidence, weakness here. Look them in the eye when you're talking. Always try to make the first contact wherever possible. When you go to work in the office, when you meet people, ask them, what's your name? Where are you from? Have that conversation. Start it. Always start it. I always do that. It will help you a lot. Even on Teams, when you're meeting somebody and you've not met them before, and they are in the meeting, talk to them. Hi, John. Are you okay? Sorry, I'm not sure we've met before. My name is Ty. Which team do you work with? And just a simple thing. Where about in the country are you, and things like that. Always, well, I can't tell you enough. Be professional at all time. Even in a WhatsApp group that is full of professional, be professional. Avoid dry jokes. Avoid putting yourself down. Somebody say, "Oh, I like your shirt." Oh no, it's from Kabut. Don't do that. Oh, thank you. Oh, it's only £10. It's only £2. Don't do that. I say, I like your shoe. Oh, thank you very much. I like yours too. Take the compliment. I'm gonna say, oh, Ty has done an excellent job. Oh, thank you. Oh, that means a lot to me. Thank you. Oh, what job? Oh, no, I didn't. No, don't do that. Yeah, in Nigeria, we're good with that. When somebody wants to give you money, say, oh, it's too much. Yeah, thank you. Don't do that here. Don't do it I mean in a professional setting. Even in your own life, try and avoid it. So don't put yourself down in any way. Stay away from eating smelly food in the office. I can't stress that enough. That will just make people hate you. It will make people dislike you. And if people don't like you, then you're not going to have a good working relationship. Never tell a colleague if you ever disagree with any of the policy of the company. Don't tell anybody, this thing that they bring in is nonsense. Don't do that. Even if that person is a Nigerian, sometimes people will be prepared to run you under the bus in order for them to get their way. Anybody can do that. It doesn't matter white, black, does not matter. So when you disagree with company policy, keep that to yourself. And in any conversation at work, go straight to the point. Make your point and keep quiet. No argument. Don't argue. Make your point, whether via email, make your point and keep quiet. Once there is a topic, you send an email and the person send an email back. Then you send an email again. The person send an email back. Send out an email saying, is it okay if we have a conversation over the phone? Call them. Give colleagues their dues. If you are working on a project and some people have helped you and you are doing the presentation about the whole thing, give people dues, either from the beginning or at the end of the presentation. Let people know who those with you. Very important. That will put you in a mess if you don't. Oyinbo people like that very much, that you give them their dues. And then always make sure you address people by their names when you are in a meeting. Always address them by their name, by their first name or the name they bring. You know, some people are Anthony, they prefer Tony. Call them Tony. You know, always make sure you do that. Never, of course, never interrupt anyone. Let people finish their point before you make your comment, even if you are more knowledgeable in that topic area. Be careful of your surrounding when your camera is on. Use the mute button whenever you are not speaking. This actually, there was a contractor, a Nigerian woman in HMRC. I was talking about her today. She was a business analyst employed in HMRC, and she was in a meeting. I was heading that meeting, and she didn't know she was on mute. She was not on mute. And she started talking about some sexual thing, asking some man to come and, you know, do some stuff at home, blah, blah, blah. And she was cooking. She was making noise in the kitchen. She was laughing. Ha, ha, ha. Go, 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 go. She was speaking Yoruba. I understand Yoruba, but nobody else understand. But people were very disgusted about the noise, the laughing, and all that. And I'm sure some people were sending her message, but she didn't read the message. I guess she just carried the laptop near her kitchen, you know, and continue cooking, forget about everything. Yeah, we all do that, but mute. And the following day, they sack her. After that minute, they said, I didn't even know the sack. The following day, I didn't see her, and they said they've sacked her. And we know why. Stay away from introducing irrelevant topic to a meeting. In any meeting you are, stay away from introducing irrelevant. And when somebody introduces relevant topic to your meeting or asks you a question that has nothing to do with that particular, with the particular reason why you are in that meeting, say, oh, John, I'll be happy to take that outside to pick that up with you outside this meeting, if that's okay. Not like, why they ask me that one? No, that's not why we are here. No, I'm happy to take that up with you, to pick that up with you outside this meeting, if that's okay. You know, that's fine. And if you are to shake hand firmly. When you're shaking hand with people, don't just shake hand, hold the hand tight. It's very important in this country. You know, when you shake hand firmly, it conveys confidence and assertiveness. Yeah, they don't like it. You shake Oyinbo hand and you just hold the hand and it's the one shaking your hand and you are not the one shaking back. They don't like it. So those little tips. There are a lot of tips in my training. I offer, you know, more tips than this, but I just thought maybe I'll pick key ones and you know, talk to you guys about. And lastly, according to you, I want to read this. Theodore Roosevelt is very relevant to what we're saying. He said, it is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doers of this school have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error or shortcoming. But who knows the great enthusiasm, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails, while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who knew neither victory nor defeat. Thank you. And that's it. That's the end. Ikelamo.
Thank
Wow,
you
thank
very
you
much.
so very much. Thank you. That was a good one.
Thank you. Thank you.
So much. Well done.
Thank you, Tai.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Tulu, any question?
Thank you. Thank you.